I didn't know this. I guess a lot of people didn't know this. On the cover of Us Weekly, you're talking about how you survived an extremely abusive marriage for 8 years. Is that how long?
Yeah, 8 years.
Wow. And tell people the story, because I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I know. It's really difficult, and it wasn't easy for me because, you know, I felt so ashamed, and being college educated and everything else. So you just never know what goes on behind people's closed doors.
How quickly did you got married? Before you got married, was he fine?
Before we got married, sure, you know, just very charming. You would never know. You would love him if you met him. And after we did get married, it was like, boom, all of a sudden I just absolutely became somebody's possession. And from there on out, I really couldn't say hello to anybody, male or female for that matter. And then all of a sudden, the abuse started.
And was it verbal first, or was it physical?
Oh, it was absolutely verbal at first. And then when the first real physical fight came, I mean, the police actually came to that one. I was just not, I was in such disbelief, because when this is happening to you, when you love somebody, it's just so horrific, because it's like having an outer body experience, because this just can't be happening. This is my knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
You just don't expect that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and for you to, I think what's important to talk about is that there are a lot of educated women
Yes.
that are, and you say that you were scared that no one would believe you because he was so charming, and so meanwhile he was raping you.
Yes.
He was beating you.
Yes.
And completely, you were a prisoner and couldn't get out. How did you?
Yeah, even though he would leave and go back to his country for several months, people are always saying, well, why didn't you leave then? It's almost like there's an electric fence. I don't know how to describe this mentally. An electric fence that's like, you know, when you don't want to let your pet go out of the yard. That even then, whatever distance you're at, you can't escape it. You're so fearful that when someone does get back, that you are going to be, you know, tracked down. And number one, where could I go? The first time my parents saw the abuse. And we were actually fighting, driving in a car where I was getting a beating. And I even jumped out of that car at that point, dragged me back into the car, went to my parents' house. My father and my mother both saw the bruise on my face. And I had locked him out of the house. And I desperately just wanted my father to kick his ass, really. I just wanted him to beat him up. And their response was, oh, let him back into the house. You know, you've got to make this marriage work. You know, that you are a married woman now.
Yeah.
And after that, I never turned to anybody after that, except for a couple of dance partners that knew all that time.
You know, I mean, it's just, that breaks my heart to hear that. It breaks my heart that you go to somebody finally, and your parents, I mean, I think that happens with all kinds of abuse. I think you go to your parents and you want them to be your person, you know, to say, I'll take care of you, and they don't believe you, or they say, make it work. And
I hit rock bottom early on after that happened, you know, and I will let you know that towards the end, when my father was dying, I went back home to take care of him, and I was able to have some resolve with him, because we talked about everything in my life and talked about this. And, you know, he finally apologized. And
that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want him to get it. It comes a little late.
He finally got it.
Yeah.
But, you know, he did see all the, you know, success that I've had, and to see me dancing and happy, you know, meant the world to him. And so I was really, you know, proud of that fact, and I'm so glad I got to have that time, because I'm not so sure, you know, things would be the same if I couldn't have that resolve with him, because anybody else, that didn't really matter.
Yeah, I think anybody who's had any type of abuse in their life, when your parents don't believe you, it is the hardest thing in the world. And you just are waiting for one day for them to apologize and say, I'm sorry I didn't believe you in the first place. I know, because it happened to me.
Oh, please. The reaction has been amazing, I will say. And people that have been close to me, people that I know, have started to talk and tell me their stories, which put me in shock, because I thought it would affect a lot of women out there. I had no idea. Some of my own personal friends, and a woman that I've known for like 3 years, just told me that she's been suffering from rape and physical abuse for 18 years out of her 23 years of marriage. and she even, lost a pregnancy because he kicked her in the stomach. I don't think, and I really thought this too, that it really wasn't happening today, but there are 3 women that are going to die someplace in this country today. 3 women a day die in this country from domestic violence. And abuse only survives with silence. And that is one of the reasons why. Because it's selfish reasons, by the way, that I'm telling this story today, because I want it out of my brain. I want it out. I want to stomp it out.
Yeah.
And I want people to know, too, that we do have more shelter. There are places to go. There weren't places to go when I was there, but there are places to go. But they are in danger because federal gun funding has been taken away, by the way. There is a bill right now, and the Senate and House has passed in the state of California that is sitting on the governor's table right now that just needs to be signed, that will give 70% back of funding to the shelters in California. But there are a lot of people out there that care, and just because you suffer from this abuse, it doesn't mean that you won't be successful in life. I went on, I do, laugh a lot, and I carry on, and I love what I do, and if it wasn't for dancing, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. There's just something about dance.
It makes you so happy, and
Empowering, it makes you happy. I mean, there's no downside to dancing. Watching it, doing it.
Well, I think you are such an inspiration, because we were saying during the break, it's hard for someone who's so smart and so she's happy all the time and laughing all the time. You'd never in a million years know that this was going on, and that means that's going on with a lot of women who just aren't. It's hard to get out of it.